Morning. I'm debriefing still my trip, Wednesday's trip. That's 4 days ago now, I think, uh, to Roaring Spring. And after I had spoken to Lisa at the borough council meeting, or borough municipal building, she's a borough manager. I went down, as I normally do, to Danny Kaye's Cafe. And I'd already asked Sheena there what she imagined could come out of that site. And I believe her comment had been children, something for the children to do. I think she remembered, she said, if you get the children down there, you're going to get their parents. Uh, she of course runs a little business in Roaring Spring, but anyway, there was a man there that I had spoken to before. Lives in Roaring Spring now. He's not from there exactly, but he knows the Morson's Cove area very well. And I saw him there, and I said, "Well, what do you think?" And he just couldn't come up with anything. He said it doesn't matter what you think; they're just going to do what they want to do. It's all about money. And I said, well, I didn't want to argue with him on that, if that's what he thought. But I wanted to get a little bit more detail. I said, let's just somebody humanitarian or something got the property. Well, can't you imagine something wonderful for the town and down there? And it was hard to get him to come up with anything. But finally, he said, kind of grumbling, like he said, jobs. But he went on a little bit more. Now, I don't know if I coached him or not. I might have said, what kind of jobs? I don't know if I did. But he went on to explain blue collar jobs, jobs that you don't have to go to college to be able to get that job. And I said, well, if there were some hotels there, one or more hotels down there, that would bring a lot of jobs like that, because a hotel requires serving the clientele. And he admitted, he said, well, yes, that's true, that would bring jobs. But I've noted that. But what I wanted to say is, I went out finding, it's more than once that I've found myself thinking of a term from Pilgrim's Progress. This is once drawing from my classical education by Paul Bunyan. It was at one time the second most widely published book in the world, I think, after the King James Bible. Now people hardly even know about it, I think, anymore, but Pilgrim's Progress. And in Pilgrim's Progress, the main character, it's an allegory. He's trying to get to heaven, and all these various things get in his way to try to struggle to finally get to I don't know, the divine city or something like that. But the one that I think about is the Slough of Despond. The Slough of Despond. He had gotten past, I think, Vanity Fair. Now, you've probably heard that term. Vanity Fair was like a market, like a city, but it was so full of shiny, colorful, appealing things that you'd go into it and it would trap you there. You couldn't get out the other side of Vanity Fair. That's easy enough to understand, I think. But the Slough of Despond was like a swamp. Remember, this is an allegory. A person would get in that slough, which is like a swamp, and get stuck, and kind of sink deeper and deeper. And what is despond? Well, it's despair, where things seem so hopeless that you simply could not get out of that slough of despond. And I think that the man I was talking to, in a way, regarding Roaring Spring, seemed to be in a slough of despond. I don't know what it would take. And I don't think he's the only one. I mean, that was a brutal hit when the paper mill closed about 4 or 5 years ago. and the president of the Borough Council said that they lost 400 jobs. Now that's a community that only has 700 households, but most of those jobs, he had admitted, were from the surrounding area. But still, that was a tremendous hit, and it's easy to see that a city could go into or a town could go into a slough of despond. But I had learned, and I noted that, and now I went on. So I have one more video I want to make about last Wednesday's trip. I may do it today for various reasons. Bye for now.